just looking over some of Star Child 2009 YouTube channels to try to get some inspiration, and I came across this one video that she just recently did, and if you want to check her out, it is Star Child, the Star Child 2009. But she went through this new survey that just came out on different blood types around the world. This is a survey that is done from 2021, so it's very recent. And I do know a little bit about what she's talking about, and so I wanted to fill in my information. I'm not going to play her video, but if you want to, she does some great research. I love her. So this is the talking about, this is where it's coming from, this is where the article, so you can go and take a look at the article yourself. But it's this that I think is really interesting, where they're talking about the different percentages of Rh negative amongst different ethnic groups or different areas, right? Like Asia, America, Africa, Europe, the Caribbean, Middle East, and the Oceania. So showing what it is, where, and I know she just didn't bring out certain points that I would have liked to, so that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to bring out certain points. So look in Asia. Anyways, we've got a 3.5 in Asia amongst, you will find that anyone of the Asian and African descent, not talking about people that live in that area that may be Caucasian or of European descent. I'm talking about people that are truly African descent or Asian descent. From what I have read in a number of different articles, is that they're not the same Rh negative as the European. For one thing, they do have the D antigen. So this is something that they will have. It's very rare that they will be missing that, and usually it's because they have a strong European ancestry in there. So also, another article that I read about, now this is just all of Africa, right? So a lot of Africa is areas where it is of European, Caucasian, whatever you want to call them, the white people are in there. So a lot of this number, the 6.1, will have to do with that. But it also is mingled in with the Rh negative that are of the African descent. And they are of a different genome as the ones that are the Europeans. So even though they don't have that protein in it, they still have a different ancestry in how they how they were, if you want to say, evolved or created. Because in the African, you will find that they developed differently, and their appearance were different, and their DNA is different, and there's not the same DNA mixed in them. Like the Africans have this ghost DNA that the Europeans do not have, and very few Africans have any of the Neanderthal DNA, where up to 4% of the Europeans do carry the DNA I just talked about. And so there is a difference between these two. When they're talking about DNA, they're specifically talking about either a European DNA or an African DNA, because they truly are different sequences, and they are a different species. If you want to, just along as same when they are talking about the DNA of the Asians, it is the same thing. These are three different, if you will, species. So if there is, although the Asians, from what I've read, never really did have that Rh negative, but what they do have is the Denisovan DNA in it, which is not in the African DNA, nor is it in the European DNA. But what they all have is they have a mixture of Cro-Magnon, modern human, which is, majority of it is from the Europeans, because you will find some people that will be almost 100% Cro-Magnon. It depends on what study you look at, but you will find that all of these have that in them, because they were mixed with the Cro-Magnon to create modern human. But the original ancestry of where Asians and Africans and Europeans come from, I believe, and it is my contention, that they were completely different creations, if you will. I don't believe in evolution because Cro-Magnon turned up in complete modern human with the ability and the brain size actually a little larger than what we have today. And the same thing is when the Africans showed up with their ghost DNA, which nobody else has. That was around the same time that the Cro-Magnon or modern human DNA happened, at the same time that the African DNA happened and changed them. So these there is something that happened at the same time for these different species of humanoids, hominids. So that's where so this number, unless it's amongst the European, we cannot, I guess my point is, we cannot really necessarily count that amongst the Rh negative. And the reason why the number in America is so low at this time is because America, which is included, remember, we do have Mexico, that is part of America as well, which do not carry a high percentage of the Rh negative. But we also have had, over the last 4 years, an influx of people from Middle Eastern and from Africa, to the point that neighborhoods and even small towns have been, the ethnic group has completely changed from the Europeans, which was usually what you would find in America and in Canada, especially in Canada, because Canada was not one that was mixed, except for the Native Americans were here, but there was not a great deal of mixing of other nationalities. Now you will find that the amount of Europeans is not at the same level as it was 4 years ago, and you'll find. So if this is a DNA, if they've done where the Rh negative, and the reason why, because this is a study that was done in 2021, so right now it's a study that has been done today. Because this is so low, I'm sure if we would have looked at a study that was done 4 or 5 years ago, this number would have been more along the lines of Europeans. That is the point that I'm making. It's because of the influx of this group who are generally Rh positive. So I guess that's about the only points that I want to make. If you want to check out her, if you don't know her, which you should, Star Child 2000, and you should go, because she's done some great research into DNA herself, and I love her channel. I don't agree with every point of view that she agrees with, but probably pretty high in the number of that her and I see eye to eye on, just because we both look at the facts. And I think the only thing that I would say that I disagree with her channel is that she believes that, or at least some of her videos, that we are possibly from Nephilim, and she believes that she may have some Nephilim. I do not believe that. I believe that the Nephilim, if you go by that, I believe the Nephilim come in the Rh positive, not in the Rh negative, and there are other researchers that believe the same thing as me. I believe that the Rh negative O is as medical, it's the purest of amongst all of the blood, has none of the rest of it on it, and all of these are a little bit diluted and added from. We know that the Cro-Magnon, when they showed up, they were all O negative. I did see a video that Atlantic Gardens did, and he said they were all B negative, which sent me on a search to see whether that was true, and I could not find that. I think he made a mistake and when he was saying that it was actually O negative in all of the research that I went and researched again. So you guys have a great day. Talk to you later.